Timonisha Holbert was crowned this year's Mayfete Queen. Founders Week festivities continue through the week with a picnic with the university's president, Dominic DeTavio, today at 5 p.m. in front of the dining hall, where the new SGA officials, Mr. and Miss TSU, and the last lecture series speaker will be announced. Thursday, the Silver Tap ceremony will be held in Heritage Park at 7:30 p.m., honoring 254 members of the Tarleton family who have died within the last year. In regional news, the Eddie Ray Routh capital murder trial may be long over, but the county auditor just got in the final numbers for the largest trial in Erath County history. The county originally set aside $1 million for the trial and only used $718,431.82, the Empire-Tribune reported. Jeanette Martin, Erath County's auditor, told the Empire-Tribune they originally budgeted $1 million when they believed prosecutors were seeking the death penalty. By not seeking the death penalty, Erath County saved thousands of dollars. The largest expense of the trial was the payment of Routh's defense team, a total of more than $330,000. In the end, the city of Stephenville was paid $62,282.77 for their services, and the county law enforcement was paid $35,963 in overtime. And now for Texas, national, international, and sports news from the Associated Press. In Texas news, lawmakers and top business leaders vowed Tuesday to kill the proposed constitutional amendments they say will promote anti-gay discrimination and could lead to the backlash similar to recent reactions in Indiana and Arkansas. Opponents say the proposal, sponsored by Republicans Representative Matt Krause and Senator Donna Campbell, would morph the business-friendly Lone Star State into a costly state for corporations and negatively affect tourism. Texas's Religious Freedom Restoration Act of 1999 allows a Texas resident to sue local, state, and governments if he or she feels that a government entity is inflicting on their religious beliefs or practices. Lauded as carefully crafted by gay rights advocates, the Act explicitly states it cannot be used to determine federal or state civil rights or take precedence over local ordinances. The proposed amendments do not explicitly say the law cannot be used to justify discrimination based on sexual orientation, mirroring the original language of the laws passed recently in Indiana and Arkansas that sparked boycotts and strong opposition. Those states' Republican-controlled legislatures both revised their law last week. Krause said his proposed amendment would give constitutional strength to Texas law. It would also trump local laws, including cities' non-discrimination ordinance, already in Houston, Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, and other cities. Juniata college student Dylan Miller takes the term living off campus to a whole new level. Miller decided to live like David Thoreau, an American philosopher, instead of just reading about him, for a senior research project on simple living. He also built himself a 17 by 17 shelter in the woods from fallen timber, leaves, and a tarp. Return to the Associated Press for more on this story.
After his last class, Dylan Miller begins the long walk home. The Juniata college student is spending his senior year living off campus, way off campus, in a shelter he built in the woods of central Pennsylvania.
Whenever I come up here, it's extremely settling. It's very relaxing. It's easy to get used to.
For his senior research project on simple living, Miller decided to live like Thoreau, not just read about him. So he constructed a 17 by 17 hut from fallen timber, leaves, and a tarp. This is where Miller eats, sleeps, and studies by candlelight, and fends off the occasional bear.
There's some more here where she clamped down and tried to open it. I'm pretty sure she thought it was a trash can.
There's an academic point to this backwoods adventure.
Is happiness more easily achieved at the hut?
Miller's trying to show you can live with less and still find contentment. The project includes weekly discussions with his advisor.
He wanted to see how he could live minimally and still kind of maintain a lifestyle that worked in the contemporary world.
Minimal living means a portable propane heater that was no match for the coldest days of winter. But Miller says he got used to the Spartan conditions.
Since this is my home now and it's become normal to me, it doesn't really feel like an endurance contest anymore or a project. You know, it's just where I live.
Not for much longer. He plans to tear down his shelter when he graduates next month.
It's sort of a lesson in impermanence, you know, like everything in the woods, you know, rots and changes and becomes everything else. So I wouldn't have it any other way with the shelter.
A lesson he says he'll take with him after college, wherever he winds up living. Michael Rubenkamp, Associated Press, Huntington, Pennsylvania.
In international news, a pair of car bombers targeted 2 rebel bases north of the Syrian city of Aleppo on Tuesday, killing and wounding dozens. The attacks targeted compounds belonging to the Islamic opposition group in the countryside north of Aleppo, a strategic stretch of territory because of its proximity to neighboring Turkey. The area has been a flashpoint since the Islamic State group advanced into the region several months ago. The Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said the first bombing hit the town of Marie, killing at least 7 people, including 2 rebel leaders, and wounding dozens more. It said a second explosion in the Hercules area killed and wounded up to 40 people, although the observatory did not have the exact figures. The discrepancy could not be immediately reconciled, but differences in casualty figures are common in the chaotic aftermath of attacks in Syria. There was no immediate claim of responsibility, but suspicions fell on the Islamic State group, which frequently carries out such attacks. In sports news, the 6th grade boy from suburban Chicago completed a near-perfect bracket predicting the NCAA's men's basketball tournament, finishing in a tie for first in the ESPN's massive annual contest. Sam Holtz said ESPN officials told him that he is not eligible to claim the top prize, a $20,000 gift card, and a trip to the Maui Invitational Basketball Tournament, because he's 12 years old. ESPN requires participants to be at least 18. Finishing with the best bracket does not equal an automatic claim to the prize. ESPN awards the prize through a random drawing of the brackets that were among the top 1% in the contest, about 115,700 this year. Kevin Oda, a spokesman for ESPN Digital Media, said Tuesday, "The great thing is that the kid beat all these experts out there." Oda also said that the network will be putting together some kind of prize for Holtz. Today's broadcast was produced by Abby McCoy and Kelsey Pointer. You can watch Texan TV News live Monday through Friday at 12:30 p.m. and on Northland Cable Channel 9. Don't forget to tell your friends about us and become a fan of Texan TV News on Facebook. I'm Brittney Phillips. Tune in tomorrow for the latest news from Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas.